Evet, ikinci konuşmacımız Muhammed.
Tamam. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, how many slides you have, Muhammed?
It depends upon the time, Hujam. Yani, how many minutes I can talk in?
How many slides you have prepared?
Because the number of slides like this, yani, actually they are 87. Ama, yani 87 like this, you see, Hujam?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't want you cut.
Okay. How كم دقيقة I have, Hujam?
Let's say just 1 hour. Let's say 1 hour, okay?
1 hour, okay.
60. But I want you to present all of your slides.
Okay. Yeniden merhaba hocam, merhaba arkadaşlar. I will talk in this presentation about drug discovery and development for rare diseases. And really, it is a very important topic. I will try to talk about it in more details. It is really a broad topic, but we will see, inshallah. I will try to ease it. As the presentation outlines, first of all, I will make an introduction about rare diseases. What are they? And what are the challenges behind them? After that, we will see why to focus on drug discovery and development for rare diseases. And then we will go to talk about very important concept, which will be about orphan drugs, what they mean, and why the concept of orphan drugs came to the pharmaceutical markets, and what are the challenges behind orphan drugs, and how to overcome all of our problems related to orphan drugs and rare diseases. So first of all, let's start with our introduction. And I made it the introduction to talk about the drug discovery and development. And we know that these processes take a lot of time, as I mean from 10 to 15 years. During this period, many Shaylar Variani, there will be preclinical trials in which they will be hitting on the targets. There will be validation of targets. There will be different experiments, even in vitro and in vivo models, of course, in experimental animals. And etc. A lot of preclinical trials will be in this stage. If we succeeded in this stage, then we will go through the drug development, which include clinical trials. Here there will be 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And each phase has its properties and characteristics. And here we will talk about the safety of our new drug molecule, its pharmacokinetic, its pharmacodynamic properties. And at the last phase, which is phase 3, we'll see the doses which are specific for that drug. And if we succeeded, of course, the drug will go to the market. And just here we will do following up to our new medicine. Now it will be as a medicine through the pharmacovigilance study, of course. Now here, this is a whole image for common diseases and rare diseases. But for rare diseases, we will focus more in this area. You see my cursor, Hujam arkadaşlar? You are seeing my...
Yes.
Tamam. Okay. When we talk about the rare diseases, the problem came from how to have, let's just say that, translatability from preclinical stage to the clinical stage. In the preclinical stage, this area, the main, we can say that the focusing will be on academia, upon the scholars, the researchers, like Masala, our university. Tamam? But the clinical trials, the focusing will be on the pharma. I mean, in the pharmaceutical industries, because the pharma has the fund. تمام. The academia has their experimental tools, have their models, have their researches, and without fund, of course, they will not work. So in the coming slides, we will try to solve the translatability from the preclinical trials to clinical trials and how to solve this big gap, as you will see. So let's to start. First of all, let's to start to define what is a rare disease. The rare disease is defined by an Orphan Drug Act, and you will see this act or law. It is defined as any disease or condition that affects less than 200,000 people in the United States. Okay?
Mohammed,
And
sorry for interruption, but
okay.
we need a better explanation of the rare diseases, not just for United States. What is the definition of the WHO for the rare diseases? We are not living in United States.
Okay, one of the problems we will see as disadvantages, Hujam, the rare diseases statistics now just in United States and in Europe.
It's 11:45.
Tamam. I searched for that, really. I searched on it in some of countries like India and China because they have big number of people and population, I mean, but there is no any data. So until now, the area of rare diseases is a hot area, but there is no available statistics about different types of countries. So if you search in the literature, you will find just a definition in relation to the United States and in relation to the Europe, which it's their number in Europe is gibi to this number, 200,000. This is one even of the problems of the rare diseases and orphan drugs.
Okay, so then you can give the definition for the European Organization for Rare Diseases as well.
What, Hujam?
For the rare diseases, there is a definition in Europe as well, and there is a foundation, let's say, European Organization for Rare Diseases.
Evet.
So you can give, don't give just for United States, but also give the definition for Europe through this organization.
Okay. I can add it inshallah. Zaten iki definitions var, United States and European.
Okay.
İnşallah. Tamam. Teşekkürler hocam. Now this is the definition according to United States, 200,000 people. If you have less than this number, you can say that you have a rare disease. So let's to see this impact. Now you can imagine that the rare disease is not really a small problem. In the United States, as an example, in total, rare disease impact is about 30 million. If you take all the people which have the rare diseases as a total, they about 30 million, i.e., 1 in 10 Americans have a rare disease. This number is given to the diabetic patients, 1 in 10 Americans. So this one of the big problems now, and as I read in some of the statistics talked about India, they said that at least they may have about 70 million people with rare disease just in India. Tamam? It is not confirmed numbers, but let's if you make a total number to all over the world, I think it will be a big number. So according to that, let's to see another problem rather than the big number of patients which have rare disease. Another problem is further. For example, if you take a group of patients and this patient group with a specific rare disease and this rare disease diagnosed, and you give this group the same prescribed drug, for example, let's say they have thalassemia, for example, one of the rare diseases. This group which has thalassemia, you diagnose them and you give them the same prescribed medicine. The results will be like this. If you make general screening on them, you will note that some of them are responders to your treatment. Some of them are not responders to your treatment. Some of them will be responders, but with side effects. Some of them will be non-responders with side effects. And you must know that you are talking with group of patients with the same disease and with the same drug. Okay, so really this is one of the challenges of rare diseases when you are deal with them. And for that, you can say that the rare diseases are as diverse as common diseases. Not that just, they also less understandable, and you have a small group of patients to understand these types of diseases well. Because in reality, most of the rare diseases, let's to say, are not monogenic, they are polygenic. You will have different complications and congenital problems related to different types of organ systems in the patient body. We can say that for this slide, in a nutshell, the group of rare diseases patients have limited phenotyping in humans, جنال أولاراك يعني. They have limited predictability. And also the population is limited. You have a small number of groups to make testing on them, to have good results, to make your decision after that. Now, if someone asks, okay, rare diseases, can you give us some examples of rare diseases? Yes, there are many examples of rare diseases. To hear about them, most of them, according to my searching in literature, there are a lot of rare diseases. Now, the registered number of rare diseases all over the world is 7,000. Okay, and from these 7,000 rare disease all over the world, less than 300 rare disease has therapies available. Yeah, and you can say that you have about 95% rare disease without any approved drug by FDA. Just less than 300 drugs from 7,000 have their therapies. And also, you must know that 80% of the patients with rare diseases affected by just 350 rare disease from these 7,000. I know some of you don't like these mathematical numbers, something like this, but these are very important statistical numbers. And as I said before, these are examples to different types of rare diseases: Tourette syndrome, cystic fibrosis, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, different types of autoimmune diseases, okay, muscular dystrophy, çok meşhur yani bir disease, and many examples with different references. So I didn't put a reference because I get it from different types of literature. Now, because of that, because of the presence of rare diseases and this big number, 7,000 number of rare diseases, a concept called orphan drug came, as you say in Turkish, meydana geliyor, tamam? The orphan drugs concept came, and we can define the orphan drug as any medicinal product for rare diseases, tamam? Any drug or medicinal product you use it to treat a rare disease, you will call that drug orphan drug. Why it is called orphan drug? We will see this story now. Now, the orphan drug, its journey starts from academia. Now you have about 7,000 rare disease. Of course, the scholars will start to produce new molecules or new entities to treat these types of rare diseases. And most of the time, they can succeed to have one molecule to treat the problem. But the problem comes with the drug companies, the pharmaceutical companies. The pharmaceutical companies most of the time boil düşünüyorlar. Yani they are thinking about the profits after I produce this drug to the market. How many dollars I will have after that? Because as we saw in the introduction, the process will take about 10 to 15 years. After the 15 years, if you haven't that big impact of profits, I think it is not a good business. Okay, so the drug company now, when try to see the rare diseases, you have a small number of patients. There is an ability or a big risk really to fail during your experiments and during your different phases of trials. There may be not full effectiveness of your medicine. So at the end, there will be a high cost to produce a drug for a rare disease. So most of the time, the drugs will be, there will not be anyone look after them. They will be orphan gibi. Yani nobody look after them. Orphan in Turkish means yatim. Tamam? So from that, because nobody look after that drug, it is called orphan drug or yatim ilaj. Tamam? The concept comes from here. Now, if we see the literature, this is not the the alone problem related to orphan drugs, the high cost. I mean, also there are another problems. The other problem related to the researchers themselves between the preclinical trials in the research academia and the drug company, the translatability, which I talked about it in my introduction. For example, let's take an example to make it more clear. This experiment, okay? This experiment about one of the neurodegenerative diseases and rare diseases, which is Huntington's disease. This is really very interesting paper. يعني onun okumayı tavsiye ediyorum. What they made, they have different types of drug compounds, tamam, for treating Huntington's disease. And these drug compounds use different mouse models. And of course, they discover their different mechanisms of action to deal with Huntington's disease. And what you can say, in this paper, all of these compounds have succeeded by using all of these different mouse models to treat the Huntington's disease as experimental models. They showed a successfulness on treating Huntington disease with these different mouse models. But what happened after that? After that, in their discussion of results, they said that a very good scientific sentence. They said, however, because these are actually very good models at many levels of analysis, as I said, it would be surprising if some compounds benefiting the mouse models did not prove to benefit humans with Huntington's disease. Yani, these mouse models, when these compounds used with them, they succeeded in the preclinical trials. But the same compounds, when they are translated to the clinical trials, they failed. And examples of them are these compounds. Tamam? They showed no benefits in the clinical trials. Yani, although they are showing in the mouse models good successfulness and good results, but in the clinical trials they showed a big failing. And that showing you or revealing you one of the big problems when you are dealing with rare diseases, as I said before, because I think they are not just monogenic disorders. Many genes you can deal with them. Now, we can say that from this paper, it is not just a process of finding a new target or a new gene. it is also to find something meaningful towards them. Of course, it is not written by me. I wrote my name here. It is to this author. I'm sorry. I forget to seal it. It is to the Robert. Evet, onun ismi Robert. I put my name as a şaka yani ama onu silmeyi unuttum.
Some days you can be a Robert.
İnşallah. Teşekkürler hocam. Tamam. He says that it is not just a process of finding new target or new gene or new experimental models in mouse models we saw in the Huntington disease. No, it is also to find something meaningful towards them. Really very nice scientific sentence. Now we can say that, and there are many examples really, tamam, but this is one example of the problems. So the limited translatability of preclinical trials is one of the big problems when you deal with academics and pharma to make this translatability. And this is related to efficacy, pharmacokinetic and pharmacokinetic relationships, toxicity, drug potency, and specificity, and the translatable biomarkers. ما شاء الله arkadaşım yani yorulma bence. You don't get tired. Tamam. Now the problems of cost and the dealing with healthcare problems are the main problems in the rare diseases. But alhamdulillah, these problems are solved in 1983. The problems, I mean, of the high cost of producing new medicine and the translatability from preclinical trials to clinical trials, they are solved in 1983 by passing an act by the Congress, USA Congress. This act, on it, there are many incentives to pharmaceutical companies to produce orphan drugs. What are these incentives put in the 1983 by the USA Congress? We will see them now. There are many HDLR for pharmaceutical companies make them to produce orphan drugs for rare diseases until now. One of them, for example, a fee waiver. They will not give any fees during their, let's say, de novo synthesis or during their drug discovery and development for orphan drug. This is one of the very important things. Also, they have tax credit, no taxes. If you want to make an orphan drug, there is no taxes for you. But if you want to make a drug for a common disease, a lot of taxes can convert. Tamam. One also of the very important things, I think, you will have as a pharmaceutical company, and you will have 7 years of marketing exclusivity. And this is really very important. What does that mean? Normally, for drugs for common diseases, you will have competitors can synthesize the medicine with you. Okay, but here you will have 7 years of with no any competitor with you, and in these 7 years you can put or you can set the price of the drug as high as you want. Now, all over the world, the most expensive drugs are orphan drugs. The one drug can be, for example, $1 million. One drug, one dose can be $1 million. You can imagine that, because the companies can put any number they want without any competitor. So for that reason, many of companies go through the road of synthesizing orphan drugs. Also, one of the very important things, the FDA support.